Right now, the plants in your home may be talking to each other, not in sound you can hear, and not in any language you'd recognize, but in chemistry, drifting invisibly through the air between them. And the most astonishing part is what they're saying. When one plant is attacked, it can send out a warning, and the plants around it receive that warning, understand it, and prepare to defend themselves before the danger ever reaches them. You probably think of your plants as separate, silent things, each one minding its own business on the shelf. They are not. They are part of an invisible conversation that scientists have spent decades proving is real. And once you understand how it works, you'll never look at a group of plants the same way again, because you'll know they're not just sitting near each other. They're listening. By the end of this, you'll understand exactly how a plant screams a warning without a mouth, how its neighbors hear it without ears. And the fifth part, the strangest of all, is who else might be eavesdropping on these messages. Let's start with the alarm itself. Slice into a leaf, even just with your fingernail, and something remarkable happens, whether you notice it or not. In the first seconds after the wound, a burst of invisible chemicals erupts from the break, racing into the air. These are green leaf volatiles, a family of 6 carbon molecules with names like Z3-hexanol and Z3-hexanyl acetate, the very compounds behind that sharp, fresh scent of cut grass. What you are smelling is not just damage, it is a kind of chemical scream, a signal that something has gone wrong. Scientists have measured this burst down to the second. Using gas chromatography and high-resolution mass spectrometry, they found that Z3-hexanol, the first responder, surges out almost instantly, peaking within 5 minutes of injury. It is followed by Z3-hexanol and its acetate, each with their own timing and intensity, all blending into that signature green aroma. The release is fast, fierce, and then it fades. Most of the action is over in less than half an hour. In the wild, this cloud can travel meters downwind, carrying news of trouble far beyond the wounded leaf itself. To the plants around it, this is not just a smell. It is information, carried on the wind, announcing that danger has arrived. The wound is small, but the message is loud, and it is delivered in chemistry, not words. To a neighboring plant, that green-scented warning is not just background noise. It is a message, and the receiver is built to listen, though the exact way it does this remains one of science's great mysteries. Somehow, those airborne molecules drifting from a wounded leaf are recognized by the plant next door. Within hours, its own genes begin to stir. Studies using transcriptomics, tools that track which genes switch on and off, show that undamaged plants exposed to these volatiles ramp up the activity of dozens of defense-related genes. Proteins that deter insects, enzymes that make leaves tougher or less tasty, even compounds that can kill microbes, all begin to accumulate, sometimes doubling or tripling in abundance compared to unexposed neighbors. What is remarkable is how quickly this happens. In wild tobacco and sagebrush, for example, defense genes spike within 6 to 12 hours of exposure to a damaged neighbor's chemical plume. These are not random changes. The same families of genes that respond to a real attack light up in advance, as if the plant is running a silent drill for an invasion that has not happened yet. Scientists still debate what the exact molecular ears are. No one has definitively isolated a single receptor for these warning scents. But the pattern is clear. Plants can decode the alarm and prepare for trouble, proving that in the world of leaves and stems, silence is only an illusion. Priming is the term scientists use for this standby strategy. A plant does not go all in on defense, but instead arms itself just enough to be ready. Think of it as a security system set to alert, not full lockdown. When a plant catches a whiff of its neighbor's chemical scream, it tweaks its own genes and metabolism, shifting resources toward rapid response mode. The change is subtle but real. Enzymes for defense start to rise, but growth does not come to a halt. In greenhouse experiments, tomato seedlings exposed to a gentle dose of Z3-hexanol grew about 12% less. but their resistance to insects after a second attack shot up by more than a third. That's a small price for a big payoff, slower growth, but a much tougher leaf if trouble comes. This is the logic of priming. Do not waste energy building walls everywhere. Just keep the guards at the door. The plant trades a bit of speed for a real shot at survival. That is where the story moves next, from greenhouse to open field, and from molecular shifts to real survival. Out in the wild, the idea that plants warn each other might sound like science fiction, but the field evidence is solid, and it starts with a now classic experiment that is as close to a smoking gun as plant science gets. Richard Carbon, working in the sagebrush hills of the western United States, set up a test that would settle the question, can one plant's distress call actually help a neighbor survive? He clipped the leaves of Artemisia tridentata, sagebrush, mimicking the bite of a hungry insect. Right next to each wounded bush, he planted wild tobacco, Nicotiana attenuata, close enough to catch whatever signals might drift over. The result? Tobacco plants growing beside clipped sagebrush suffered about 40% less chewing from grasshoppers and cutworms than those next to untouched sagebrush. It was not a small effect. The tobacco leaves also ramped up their own chemical defenses, showing a clear spike in polyphenol oxidase, an enzyme that makes them tougher for insects to eat. Carbon did not stop there. To rule out other explanations, he sealed off the air between some plants with airtight barriers. When the airflow was blocked, the protective effect vanished. The signal was not traveling through roots, soil, or fungi. It was airborne, a chemical message sent on the wind. Over 5 field seasons, the pattern held. The signal was real, and it made a difference. Skeptics wanted more than a single case, so Carbon and others reviewed every controlled experiment they could find, 48 in all. 40 of those studies showed the same effect. Plants exposed to a neighbor's chemical scream were better defended against insects. The numbers are hard to ignore. Ian Baldwin, another leader in the field, pushed the test even further, showing that these chemical cues travel over 10 meters in open desert, still priming defenses in downwind plants. The evidence stacks up. The warning system is not just a laboratory trick. It works in messy, unpredictable nature, and it has been confirmed again and again. Still, a deeper question lingers. Are these warnings intentional, or is something else at play? Now the story of plant communication takes a turn that borders on the unbelievable. Those green, wounded scents drifting from a bitten leaf don't just warn nearby plants, they also broadcast into the wider world, reaching a completely different audience. In the cornfields of Illinois and the meadows of Switzerland, researchers discovered that when caterpillars chew on maize, the plant releases a special blend of volatiles. These airborne chemicals aren't just a distress call, they're a recruitment poster for bodyguards. Parasitic wasps like Cotacea are highly attuned to these signals. Drawn from meters away, they home in on the scent of damaged maize, searching for the caterpillars responsible. The wasps don't eat the caterpillars themselves. Instead, they lay their eggs inside them, turning the herbivores into living nurseries. For the plant, it's an indirect but devastating counterattack. The predator is summoned, and the attacker is neutralized from within. Field experiments put numbers to this invisible alliance. Researchers set up traps baited with the scent blend from chewed maize and compared them to traps with only healthy plant air. The difference was dramatic. Traps with damaged maize volatiles captured 3 times as many wasps. The effect was so consistent that it's now called the bodyguard effect. Maize doesn't just defend itself, it recruits allies, using chemistry as a beacon. This isn't a one-off trick. Similar patterns appear in tomatoes, cotton, and wild tobacco, each with its own signature blend and its own set of recruited predators. What began as a plant's chemical scream becomes a multi-layered conversation with predators, parasites, and even competitors eavesdropping on the message. The green world is not silent, and it's not alone. It's a living network, each signal rippling outward, shaping the fates of creatures that may never even touch a leaf. If this hidden drama has changed how you see your own plants, don't miss what's coming next. Subscribe for more stories that reveal the secret lives all around us. Right now, your plants aren't just growing, they're tuned in, ready to sound the alarm at the first hint of threat. Every leaf is a sensor, every scent a message. Science keeps peeling back these layers, and the neighborhood gets stranger. Subscribe for more stories that change the way you see the ordinary.